All right. Shalom, Kahalayim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, which is the Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon Kodash, the Holy Tongue, for the one true name of the Heavenly Father being Yahweh, and that of the Messiah, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, being Yahweh Shai. All right, and I say ignorantly because the letter J wasn't even derived until the 16th century, man, so that clearly couldn't have been his name, right? The word God simply means power. The word Allah simply means power, man. Right? Contrary to popular belief, the Heavenly Father does not have many names. He has many titles. He has one name, man. And again, that would be Yahweh. All right, going back to the Paleo Hebrew, the original Hebrew, a dialect of Hebrew that is not even used in Israel today, man. It's referred to in Israel as the dead language because they use a modernized version of the Hebrew, man. All right, look this information up. Matres lectiones. All right, it's not the same that it once was, man. All right, but anyway. Hey, as it is written, Acts 4:12, there's no other name given among men whereby you must be saved. So the importance of the name is very important, man. All right, and the elect, according to prophecy, would have that name. All right, so again, that's why you hear us giving all praises, as always, unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the authors and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere peace, love, blessing, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there who are doing the best to make the calling of your election sure. All right, as you see here, we got Micah, the 4th chapter, pulled up, man. And I wanted to just get the main point, man. Verse 2, it says, and many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth out of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Right, so this shows you, man, that we're going to teach all nations the laws of the Heavenly Father, the laws, statutes, and commandments of Israel, man, are these very same laws that we were given since the very beginning. And this is why, right, the scriptures talk about, well, we'll go ahead and grab it here in the book of Revelation shortly, man, how we will inherit these nations, man. We're going to inherit them, and we're going to teach them the ways of the Most High, creating a theocracy on this earth, which will ultimately lead the earth into a place of perfection, a place of peace on earth, man, a place of where actual love is shown, and not what we've been taught by this devil Esau in this current society, where we've learned to fill our bellies with our own brother's substance, man. Taking what's yours, sizing you up for what's yours, trying to take your woman, trying to take your car, trying to take your job, right? And because I said that, I got this pulled up, man, because this is really Esau's way, man, right? You know, which we've for the most part we've learned and are familiar with the story of Julius Caesar here, man. And you see what it says. It says, what is the significance of Caesar's dying words et tu brute? All right, which, if I'm even pronouncing that right, but the meaning of it, the significance of Caesar's dying last words, dying words in Shakespeare's play, is to show the great despair and ultimate resignation Caesar felt when he realized that a trusted friend was betraying him. And the reason why they betrayed him is because he grew in power, man. He grew in power, and so that he was betrayed, right, by other jealous Edomites. Again, filling your belly with your own brother's substance. This is what we've been taught in this society, man. This is what we've been taught to do to one another, right? Your brother has a cookie. Hey, you're going to do what you can to take that from him, man, so you could put it in your own belly, right? And that cookie may come in the shape, form, or fashion of this, that, or the third, right? Their car, their whatever the case may be, man. Their woman, like I had mentioned earlier, their job, right? You get at the workplace and you start getting treated nice and getting raises and what have you. Hey, there's gonna be another Jake there that feels some type of way about it, man. All right, and that's just what we've learned, man. But again, we now are learning the laws of the Heavenly Father, which is teaching us obedience, man, teaching us how to care for one another, man. All right, beginning with our neighbors, our Israelites, but soon the planet Earth is gonna move to our beat, man. Right, and that's gonna lead the earth into that a place of a theocracy, man. All right, a theocracy meaning a world governed by the Heavenly Father, right? By his physical counterparts will be here on this earth, right? The elect, who are, according to Hebrews, the 8th chapter, are going to have the laws written within them, man, which I'll go ahead and grab that. We'll jump back to this, Micah, man. This is Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 10, and it reads, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be unto them a God, and they shall be unto me a people. You see, so the Heavenly Father is going to write the laws within us, man. Right? Very same laws that were written upon tablets for us to follow to the best of our ability, now is going to be written within us so we could follow it perfectly, man. You see, and ultimately this is all done through Yahushai. Now you see how everything kind of ties together, right? Yahushai's sacrifice, right? The joint heirs, the elect, right? Immortality, right? As I had mentioned in the previous lesson, right? But anyway, going on, verse 11, it says, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest, because us Israelites are going to have the law written within us, man. But for those of you who are outside of the nation of Israel, right, you're not going to have it written within you. But as we read in the book of Micah, we're going to teach you of our ways, man. In fact, going to the book of Revelation, right, it goes in on the same thing, right? Revelation 2 and 26. He that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of potter shall they be broken into shivers, even as I received in my Father. And the reason why they're going to be broken is because they've been built up in Esau society, man. Much like we were before we got quickened through the blood of Yahushai, right? We were lost in this world, man. Filling our belly with our own brother's substance, as I had mentioned earlier, and we can't have that type of behavior in the kingdom, man. So we're going to get rid of Esau, and we're going to get rid of the lies and deceits that he's filled with the people's minds, man. In other words, breaking them as a potter's vessel, and we're going to build them back up according to righteousness, man, according to the standards of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And we're going to uphold this world by the law, man. The very same law that, mind you, Christianity says is done away with. That is a very cold cut towards Christianity, man. All right. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump back to the book of Micah, right? So I could speak on that a little more. Micah chapter 4 and verse 3, and it reads, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. This is what Israel is going to be doing. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. You see that, man? So righteousness is going to be established, man. Love is going to be established. I keep mentioning love. Let me go ahead and grab why, because love and the law go hand in hand, man. That's why you see Christians all bugged out talking about, oh, God is love. Well, no, man. Let's grab it. Yeah, this is that the book of Romans, chapter 8, or no, it's like chapter 13 and verse 8. And it reads, "Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth one another hath fulfilled the law." Right? And again, this is where Christianity will tell you that the law has been overcome by love or rewritten with love, however they want to say it, man. Right? But if you continue reading, right, if this cosigns to the law, right? Verse 9, it says, "For this thou shalt not commit adultery." So if you love one another, you're not going to be committing adultery against one another, man. Going on, it says, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Right? So that's why I said the law and love go hand in hand, man. If you have love for one another, you're not going to be breaking the law towards each other, man. You see, so this is why Paul said that, right? Have love for one another, that, you know, that you may fulfill the law to the best of your ability, man. Even though we know Yahushai already overcame the law, right? Which is why ultimately we are able to enter into this fight of our faith, man. Right? Able to enter into this grace period. And as I mentioned earlier, though we were institutionalized and our minds were watered down to hate one another, right? We've learned now to show true love, man. Beginning with what our fellow neighbor, right? But as you read in the book of Luke, the 10th chapter, and as I've gone into in previous times, right? We've been scattered among all nations, right? So you can't just be going around just hating people because they look like a heathen, man. Right? What's that? Book of John, chapter 7 and verse 24. We judge not according to the appearance, but we judge righteous judgment, man. All right? We judge according to the Spirit, man. Right? We've learned how to be righteous judges, man. That's why 1 Corinthians, the first chapter in the 18th verse, if I'm not mistaken, the second chapter in the 18th verse, right, goes in on the fact that that we are spiritual judges, man. Right? We are to judge. We've been given this law, so we know how to judge. If you're given a law, you have need for a judge, man. And that's ultimately what the Heavenly Father is creating out of us. That's why we're going to have the laws written within us, as we read, right? That's why we're going to inherit the nations, and that's why we're going to teach them the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is going to lead to world peace and love being showed on this earth, man, rather than what Esau has showed us, man. Going all the way back to what we were given since the very beginning, Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6, and it reads, keep therefore and do them. Let's go back a verse. Verse 5, it says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear of all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people, right? Since the very beginning, we were given this wisdom, man. The wisdom of how to conduct ourselves on this planet to cause ourselves to live and to flourish, man. Right, and this was baffling to the other nations, because at the very beginning, right, who was to know what's right and wrong, man? Well, the Heavenly Father gave us right and wrong according to His wisdom that's beyond all of ours, man. He is the Creator, man. Right, that's like going and buying a brand new car, taking the instruction manual and throwing it out the window, and replacing your gas with salt or whatever the hell you want to do, man. When the Creator of that vehicle, who knows best, is telling you how to conduct yourself with that vehicle, man. How to treat that vehicle, so to speak, to cause it to have the most prolonged life, if you will, man. You see, so again, we were given it from the Creator, and that's why modern science will still prove the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the law that we were given. By what? By showing, hey, if you break these laws, right? Something that comes to mind will be eating unclean meats such as pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, right? If you eat these meats, you get different diseases that go that are a consequence or repercussion for them, man. Well, the Heavenly Father said what? That, hey, if you do these things, ye shall die. That's why 1 Corinthians tells us that this here, man, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 56, and it reads, the sting of death is sin, and the strength of the law of sin is the law. So to strengthen us against sin, we've been given the law, right? And the sting of death is sin. So it may have been in the form of a sting that brought that death, but it actually was sin. Or in other words, modern science could prove that it may be in the form of a disease that you got from eating that unclean meat. But the Heavenly Father gave us the law and told us not to combat that act that would lead to sin and then death, man. All right, and again, this is what we're going to be pushing across the world, man, which is going to again bring the world into a state of world peace. Because I said that, let me grab Zephaniah, or Salakia, not Zephaniah, yeah, Zechariah, chapter 8 and verse 12, and it reads, for the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their dew, and I will cause the remnant of this people to possess all these things. Right? So the Heavenly Father is going to cause us to possess this planet, which is going to cause it to flourish from the seed all the way to the vine, man. The Heavenly Father is going to cause love to take place on this earth once more, man. Life to take place on this earth, man. Flourishment to take place on this earth. That's why Revelation, the 21st chapter, says that the tears will be wiped from our eyes, man. I'm sick of seeing animals suffer, man. I'm sick, and this is why the book of Romans, the 8th chapter, tells us that the animals are even going to rejoice at us coming into power, man. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick. Whereas on the contrary, Esau's killing these animals, man. Destroying their habitats, destroying their homes. Right? You have people chaining themselves to trees as if that's going to change anything, man. No, we got to get him out of power and replaced with the true judges of this earth, man. Job 9 and 24, right? He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he, man? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? So he's covered our faces, man, according to Job 9 and 24. And we've been replaced by a fiat judge who judges according to his own belly, man. This is why he's lined his pockets with our debt, while we all claw at one another, killing each other, stabbing each other in the back, right? So you can look at your own homie and say, "E tu, brute," just like Julius Caesar, man. All right, but anyway, this is the book of Romans. It's lucky. Where was I going, man? The book of Romans, chapter. Oh yeah, chapter 8, and verse 21. That's a lot. Let me see. verse 19, it says, for the earnest expectation of the creature of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? So the creation, the whole creation is groaning and awaiting for the sons of God to be manifested on this earth, man, to be set back into a place of power, to lead to what we just grabbed out of the book of Zephaniah. Going on, it says, verse 20, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjection in the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. And that's what happened, man, right? We even though we were made subject to vanity, even though we have been put in these bonds, right? As the book of Psalms says, ye are gods, but ye shall die like men, right? We've been put into this mortal state, right? But the Heavenly Father has brought us back in to that original tree, man, as we grab out of the book of Romans, the 11th chapter. I believe it's the 24th verse, if I'm not mistaken. No, verse 23, it says, and they also, if they abide still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. So like if they abide not still in unbelief, they shall be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again, right? Because what he has done is he's, cut us off, man. That's why we had need for Yahweh Shai, right? And now we're learning again. We're learning love, man. Even though we've been watered down and mentally destroyed in this world by learning the ways of Esau, which he did here, man. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, and verse 25. It says, and through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And that's what he's done, cause craft to prosper, cause you guys to hate one another, right? And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand, right? He's going to stand up against Yahweh Shai, man, and that's ultimately going to be his ass. That's going to be his end, man. Right? The Lord is gonna end the power structure of Esau Edom, right? Just like he did with ancient Egypt, which is gonna, just as it did in ancient Egypt, show the world his power. How much more is it gonna do that in this modernized world, man? This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, and I'm just gonna get to the point, man. Verse 7, it says, so Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died. And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death they put crowns upon their heads, or upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied upon the earth. So all these evils that we were taught, all this madness that we were taught, man, right? Now, we're getting rid of that, man, through the blood of Yahweh Shai. As Yahweh Shai said, be reborn again, man. But that was all from the handiwork of Esau, man. This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man from Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, right? The laws of love, as we're just going in on, man. Right? So Esau wanted these laws to be departed from, man, and to set up a bunch of copies of himself, man. A bunch of Edomite disciples chasing after their own belly, killing one another. You see, this black and brown nigga culture that we've received, man. This is from Esau, man. Esau did this. Our culture is life, man. Our culture is immortality, man. It says, and to not live after the laws of their God. And that's exactly what they did, man. That is exactly what they did. They've spread this madness, and they even use, right, religion to do so. As we go on, verse 2, it says, and to pollute the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympus, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in that place. So they polluted our temple and set up a false god, man. And this god went by the name of Jupiter Olympus, man. Jupiter Olympus, which is, he looks just like Cesare Borgia, man. Another white Christ, if you will. Right? And then his title was what? The Defender of Strangers. The Defender of Strangers, man. Meaning what? Now we have taken on the identity of strangers. And on top of that, right? The people of God have turned into Edomites. the godlike people. Let me go ahead and pull up that picture of Jupiter Olympus, man. And we'll close it out. Here he is. Look at this Edomite, man. Look at this devil, man. Look at even right here. My goodness. You see? So, hey, ain't nothing new under the sun, man. Alright, so anyway, with that said, man, Lord willing, is edifying. I'll go ahead and close it up here. Double honors unto the elders and the apostles at GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere peace, love, blessing, salutations unto all those of you hopeful, faithful, potential members of the elect out there doing the best to make the calling of your election sure, man. Alright, they talk about love, but they don't know what love is, man. We know what love is, and it's going to be established on this earth, man. Alright? Shalom wa abad.